Screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yesterday we have seen some assignment operators. Okay, fine. Before that, just want to ask that anyone has did any of the project work something like whatever the task I have given you. Anyone has done that thing? Anyone? I'm Padma. No, sir. Okay. Remaining all. Anyone has done anything? No such. Then I already told you, na. At least try so that if you have any queries or something, Shanti ma'am tried, sir. So, like, which thing you have tried? Something regarding operators or before that, before this task? Concatenation, sir. Okay. Okay, fine. So it's working. Yes or no? Is it working or not? Error, sir. Uh, okay, fine. So at the end of the session, we'll see what's the error. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll start now. So till now we have seen something regarding assignment operators, variables, arrays, and all. So today we are going to see some conditional statements. Maybe you all are aware of these things and all. If statement is basically used to execute some code only and only if one of the condition is true. If else statement is basically used that if a condition is true and another code if that condition is false. So if statement is basically for one block of code and if else is for multiple only two blocks of code, and if it is if else if, then you have multiple codes that is more than two. And when you are going with switch statements, it just selects only one of the block of code to be executed as per your requirement. Fine. So this is an example of if statement and its syntax. This is the if, then you have to apply the condition here, open the braces, and the code that will be executed if the condition is true. Fine. So this is a small example here. You can go and have a check that we have simply taken a $t as a variable, and then we have just printed the date in that as the h. Fine, that we have taken as a string. Now if we are putting as the $t is less than that is 20, it is going to print have a good day. In similar fashion, this is then if block condition. That's the working of if statement. Just simply you have to write down a condition and then the code to be executed. Similar fashion, if you want to have this if else statement, then you have if, then condition, else. The condition to be executed is true should be written in the if block, while the false condition should be written in the else block. Then this is an example, the same example again, the PHP. Now you can see here this is an if else both the blocks are containing. Now then what if else if is something like if you have more than two conditions, if the condition one else if condition two, and else the whatever it is showing you to be the third condition. Fine, the first condition is something if condition is showing to be the true condition. Else if is something code to be executed if the first condition is false and this condition is true. That means the first condition is false, so that's why it will remove from this the code of the if block. Then it will move into the else if condition block. There it will check whether this condition is true or not. Even if it is not true, then it will move to the else part and it will generate the false statement. This was an example. Like if the same example I have taken for the remaining like all those things, you can see here like output, have a good morning. This is the output you are going to print if the current time is less than 10. If the current time is less than 10, it is going to print out this have a good morning. And have a good day when the current time is less than 20. Otherwise it will output have a good night. For suppose if you have put here h is equal to 30, 30 means what it is going to take. Now it is going to print out as have a good night. But if it is going to be printing as something 18, 20 and around, it is going to print as a have a good day. That's the working of if else if. And this is the switch statement that is used to perform different actions based on the different conditions. It is used to select only one of the logs of code to be executed. Here the switch n, the n is called as your condition. Fine, this was the condition. Then these are the case, and the label one will shows you the particular value of the condition. Fine, like if n is equal to something, this n equal to label one. Label one can also be called it as a sub different conditions. Fine. So what if n equal to this? You will going to generate the case one. Then yeah, important point that break is being used in the switch statements. Then case label 2 to be executed if n is equal to label 2, in a similar fashion it will move on. But what if case if the n is not going to match with any, with not going to match with any of these cases, then the default case will be there. It is to execute it if n is different from all the labels. That means if n is not going to match with any one of the label, then this is then the default block is going to be executed. Fine, no worries. The syntax I will share with you, so you can see there the what is the syntax and all. You can see here dollar $fave color. So this is an example. So this is a variable where we have given it as red. Switch dollar $fave color. So variable we have taken. Now what is if the case is red color? If the case is red, you have to print this statement. If the case is blue, then you have to print this. If case is green, then you have to print this. Otherwise, if something like I have going to print favorite color equal to yellow, then it is going to print out the default value, that is your favorite color is neither red, blue or green. So in this case, the output will be your favorite color is red. Why? Because the case red is matching here, and here we have taken the favorite color is equal to red. Fine, that was the thinking. So that's the case of the conditional statements. The if statement that basically used when you have one code of, when one you have only one block of code. If else when you have two code of blocks. If else if when you have multiple code of blocks. And last one is your switch statement, that is that you have multiple conditions and multiple codes to run, and that the only one satisfied condition or the required condition it will take as your output. Then comes your PHP loops. Loops are something you are again you are aware of these things like do loop, do while loop, for loop, and for each loop. For each loop, something you are not aware of this thing. I'll try complete it later on. First of all, basically, why the loops are used? Basically, they are used to execute the same block of code again and again. That's the usage of the loops. Fine, and and for as long as a certain condition is true. More thing, fine. So whenever you want to run a particular block of code for a number of times, then you are going to use the loops. Then what is this while loop? When loops through a block of code as long as the specified condition is true. That means what? While loops are used when whenever till and like till your condition is going to be satisfied, till the required condition is going to happen, till that time your while loops are going to happen. Do while loop means what? The while loop, the while condition is something at the end of the loop. That means at least for once the code is going to be executed, at least for once, for sure, without checking it's whether the condition, or because you have to start with a block where you have going to start with the do and simple block of code. After that you are going to mention the while condition. So at least for once it is going to generate the output. For loops or code for the specified number of times. When you know that how many times you want to run a particular program, when you know that how many times you want to run a particular program, for that for loops are basically used. While and do while loops doesn't know for how many times the code should run. Yes, for multiple purpose only all these loops are used, but if something like, if you don't know that how many times the loop should run, then you can use the while and the do while loops. But if you know that this for fixed amount like 10 to 15 times I want to run a particular program, then we are going to use for and for each loops. For loops are all these loops are similar as you are going to use in C, Python, Java and all. For each something, it is basically used for an array purposing, array indexing and all. For each loops are basically used. Maybe you are not aware of these things because these are not being available in C and C++. For each is basically used for each element in an array. Key indexing, it simply, if I want to say, it is basically works on key indexing and all. You can see here while loop, while condition is true, then the code is to be executed. Similar fashion, like if condition, then the code to be executed. Similar fashion, while the condition and the code to be executed. Then this was an example. Here you can see we have taken a $x as some value, and now we have taken a condition that while $x is less than equal to 5, that means the $x value is not known to this particular group. Fine, we are not knowing that $x value is what. Fine, so that means what, so this is an unknown number of times it is going to iterate sometimes. Fine, the number is this and this is going to print. Now x is equal to 1, initialize the loop counter and set the start value to 1. Then $x is less than equal to 5, continue the loop as long as the $x is less than or equal to 5, and $x plus increase the loop counter value by 1 for each iteration. Once it is going to print here 1, then the x values will be increased. Again the loop will start for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. It is going to show those numbers. Now what this is some example, other example. Again now we have just incremented the value with 10, where 10 numbers. Fine, it is going to start with 0 and it will end up till 100 values. So it is the values to 100 by times, that is the output will be like 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and it will goes on in similar fashion. Then comes is your do while. It will always execute the block of code once. Why? Because when you are going to start with this, the while condition is outside the block. That means what, for at least once the do is going to be executed. But once if the condition satisfies, it will again going to generate. Again it is going to iterate the do loops until the condition is satisfied. But once the condition is dissatisfied, it will stop. Like suppose, I'll just an example we'll take. This is an example. We have taken $x equal to 1. Do echo the number is x br x plus plus and all. This is also going to print out the values from 1 to 5. But what if I am going to here put is as a $x greater than equal to 5? Still it is going to generate you an output as 1. Why? Because this while condition is somewhat after the loop statement. Fine, so when it is 1, it is going to print 1, then it will increment 2. If the condition 2 is greater than equal to 5, okay fine, then it will set it, then the condition is satisfied, and then it will move on in similar fashion. Now this is again an example. $x equal to 6. Do again we have taken, now you can see here the condition 6 is greater than equal to, is less, is the, like it will going to print the value as a 6 once. Now the x plus plus, now 6 plus plus, that means the value is now 7. Now solve 7. So while 7 is less than equal to 5, no it is not, 7 is greater, so it is not, so hence the it will stop generating the iterations. That means what, only one output will be there, that is 6, though the condition is not going to satisfy. That's the working of do while. Now when you comes with for loop, again the syntax, maybe you are aware of these things. That is the init counter, that is the $I equal to 0. Test counter, for what basis you are going to test this $I values. Then incremental counter, $I plus plus, $x plus plus s and all. Initialize the loop. Test counter evaluated for each loop iteration. If it value is true, the loop continues. If the evaluates false, the loop ends. Increment the counter, increases the loop counter value. Example, you can see here we have taken $x equal to 0, $x is less than equal to 10, $x plus plus, the number is $x br. Now you can see initializing with a 0, continuing the loop with the 10 values, because we have not as explicitly specified here something like a dollar x equal to something. In the loop only we are going to specify this thing. That's why we can say that as we know that how many times these are going to run this. If it is 10, so definitely it is going till and 10 times it is going to run. Dollar x increase the loop value by 1 for each iteration. So its output will be like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Similar fashion again, now just an increment with 10. Again the same examples, that is for do while, and these are for loops only. Fine. Then this is called as the for each loops. It works only and only on arrays, and it is used to loop through each key value pair in an array. This is the basic syntax. For each, then dollar array as a dollar value and the code to be executed. For every loop iteration, the value of the current array element is assigned to dollar value, and the array pointer is moved by 1 until it reaches the last array element. I'll just tell you with an example. Fine. So this is an array exam. This is the example, like dollar php. Okay, sorry, no, dollar colors we have taken an array. We have the values as red, green, blue and yellow for each dollar colors. So what is this dollar colors? Dollar colors are these red, green, blue and yellow. Now what is this dollar value? Dollar values will be your these values only. Echo dollar values going to print. We'll see at the end that what it is going to print out. Fine. Now, okay, this is going to print out. Again, this is an example of that for each only. You can see here the syntax: dollar color, dollar variable as a dollar particular value. Jandu, fine. For each dollar colors as dollar value, and then we are going to print this dollar value, and then we'll see what it is going to give you an output. Again, this is an example of key value pairing. That is what we have taken array. Then Peter is showing something an age of 35, Ben is showing an age of 37, and Joe is showing an age of 43. For each, first of all, we have to take the variable. Simply taken the variable dollar age as. Now what you have to take? Now you have to take the dollar value. But for what dollar value you have to take? For all the particular x values that are present in this. You can have this any variable. You can have x, y, z and all those things. So what is this x is going to represent? The Peter, Ben and Joy. And what is this value going to represent? 35, 37 and 43. When you are going to print this equal $x equal to $5, what it is going to print? Peter equal to 35, Ben equal to 37, Joy equal to 43. So in similar fashion, the output of these also will be red, green, blue and yellow only. The output will be your values only. So what are the values of your array? What is the value you have to take? The value you have to take the array of that particular variable. Okay, now which array we have to take? The colors variable. The colors has the values as red, green, blue and yellow. So these are going to be your 4 output. Now this is going to print out as Peter 35, Ben 37 and Joy 43 is your output. Then this is a break statement. Maybe you are all aware of these things, that when you are going to use the break statement, when you used to jump out of a switch statement, when you want to surpass a few steps or few codes that you didn't want to execute those things. Fine. Like suppose if you have a condition like $x equal to 0 from 10 and all those things. Now simply if $x, whenever the $x is equal to 4, you are not going to you are not going to run the specific code. Fine. That's what the example jumps out of the loop whenever is x is equal to 4. So for this condition, your output is going to be like 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Not 10, 10 is not equal to. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is going to be your output, because whenever the 4 will comes, it will just break. It will again moves to the next position. Fine. That's the working of break. Again, you can see here, this is an again example. You can see this was an example regarding the for loop. Similar fashion, when you can go with while loops also. Then the continue statement. What is this continue? When you want to break any iteration, if a specified condition occurs and continues with the next iteration in the loop. Fine. What it is do is just simply example skips the value of the 4. Fine. Fine. The simply it will just skip the value of this particular iteration 4, and then again it will start running the remaining process. Fine. So this break basically it will just work to 0, 1, 2, and 3. As soon as it the 4 will come, it will generate as the number is a 4, and it is not going to generate the other outputs. But what when is the condition in again this is the same example. Okay, what if this condition when PHP continuous work, simply it just gives the value of 4, and then it will run for the remaining portion. Fine. This was an example. Okay, PHP functions, we'll start discussing it from tomorrow onwards. Today we have taken 4. I'll just try to quickly. Okay, if statement basically used to execute some code when the condition is true. If else statement when you have two conditions, one is true and one is false. If else, that means if you have more than two conditions. Switch statements when you have multiple conditions with multiple statements, and you required only one condition to be satisfied. This is the working of this if statement. Then this was an example of if else condition, if else, then the switch statement, then the PHP loops, while loops are basically used when you have run some execute some block of code again and again. uh, in that again 2 points. One, how many times you have to run that loop. If you don't know that, if you know don't know that how many times you want to run, then you can use while and do while. But if you know that for a specified amount of iterations I want to run this block of code, then you can use for and for each loops. While loops are basically used when the condition is true. Do while, it is going to execute for once for sure, irrespective of your condition whether it's a true or wrong. For loops, when a specified number of times is required, for each basically works on the array that are called as the key value pairs. While loop, simple syntax conditions, then this is an example of that. The same example we have taken for all those loops, while, do while, and all those things. Then this was a do while. If the code will execute the block of code for once for sure. Then PHP for loop. This was a syntax used to know in advance that how many times the script should run. The code, the script means the block of code that you want to run. Then this was an example again. Then the PHP for loop, the actually it works on the array and the value pairs. This was an example. So this is going to be an output as red, green, blue, and yellow. And for this example, the output should be like Peter 35, Ben 37, and Joy 45. So how did it sticks? The value shows this particular values, and this x is going to show you the Peter, Ben, and Joy, and for which these x and values are corresponding to. So these are corresponding for the age variable. Similar fashion, then comes your break operation. Break operation is basically used to jump out from that particular block of code. So in this condition, if I am going to specify x equal to 4 and that particular point break, so it is not going to generate for the remaining part, that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So it is going to generate only the output as 0, 1, 2, and 3. As soon as the 4 will come, it is just going to stop the procedure there. What if in the case of continue, it will just skip that 4 and it is going to generate the remaining items, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's the basic difference between break statement and continue statement. So functions that we are going to discuss from tomorrow onwards. Fine. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah. Fine. It's tomorrow. We'll discuss those things. Okay. Any queries now? Any queries? No, sir. No, sir. Okay, fine. If you have queries, then you can stay in the meeting. Otherwise, don't we have go to statement in PHP, sir? Sorry, I didn't understand actually your question, ma'am. ma'am. Go to jump. Okay, okay. Similar to go to. Yeah, yeah. There is. You can have that go to statement as well. You can. Yes, you have. Go to jump. Can you please unmute, ma'am, once?
Uh,
Okay. Are you
Sir,
talking
actually,
regarding go to statement? Now, only go to statement or go to jump combined statement?
no, sir. Only go to statement.
Yes, it is there. Nah, yes, go to statement is there.
Okay,
We'll
sir. Okay.
discuss that next few lectures after maybe after completion of functions. I guess I'll will go with those go tos and similar type of statements. Yes, jump statements in Caesar. Yes, go to statements are there. But main thing is that go to statements are not basically used in PHP. Yes, they are. Yes, we can use go to statements, but they are not used a lot because all those things PHP is basically works with the backend part only na. So it's just basically the working manner should be regarding that database connectivity and all those things only. So not much PHP used to go to statements, but if situation arises we can use. Fine, ma'am. Okay, sir. Okay. Shanti, ma'am, yes, you have some query. You can please share your screen so that we can see what was that error and all. Present, I don't have laptop with me, sir. Okay, so make sure that tomorrow when you have this session, try to be with your laptop. Fine. Okay. Okay, fine. Any further queries? You can stay in the meet. Otherwise, you can start leaving the meet. Okay, ma'am. बंद कर दूँ. Ma'am.